Greetings everyone and welcome to Coffee Black, where the Voyager adventures continue on YouTube. I'm your host, Captain G, and this is the channel where you get your refill of everything Star Trek Voyager, including Trek trivia, news, reviews, and more. So before I get started on today's topic, I'd like to encourage new viewers to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also check us out on X, formerly known as Twitter, and visit our Facebook page for additional Voyager content. So in preparation for the new season of Prodigy, I thought I'd do an entire Season 1 breakdown of Voyager Easter eggs and references. I'm also planning on doing episode breakdowns of the new season, so if you're excited for the new season, drop a like on this video. Just a friendly reminder, this video will be full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen Prodigy yet, you've been warned. Starting with episode 1, Lost and Found, we see a Kazon slaver. First time we've seen a Kazon since Voyager ended. Later in the scene, we also learn that the Diviner's mine is located in the Delta Quadrant. At the end of the first episode, we have the first reveal of the USS Protostar. And the design reminds me a lot of a smaller class ship similar to the Nova class ships. It appeared on Voyager like the Equinox and the Rhode Island. In episode 2, Lost and Found Part 2, at the end of the episode, hologram Janeway is introduced. Her design is nearly identical to that of Janeway's look in the first season of Voyager, even down to her famous bun of steel. However, despite the promo shoots and posters showing her as an exact copy of Janeway, as the Janeway we know her from the show, in the episodes of Prodigy, there actually was a minor change made, as they gave her the same styled comm badge as the crew's, and not the traditional Voyager comm badge. Next we have episode 3, Starstruck. At the beginning of the episode, Holo Janeway creates a Federation tutorial explaining to the new crew all about the Federation and Starfleet. The tutorial reveals several famous ships, including the USS Voyager. Later in the episode, it doesn't make much sense for a hologram to drink, but Holo Janeway drinks coffee, an obvious nod to the character for her love of the beverage. Also note that the cup is identical to the Starfleet-issued cup that she used on Voyager, the same cup that we use in our own Coffee Black opening. Next we have episode 4, Dreamcatcher. In the episode, the crew decides to explore an M-class planet in the Hirogen system, a nice name drop of another Delta Quadrant species that appeared on Voyager. Later in the episode, when Gwen plans to steal the Protostar and leave the others behind, Holo Janeway says the Starfleet officer never abandons her crew, mirroring what Janeway says to Naomi in the Voyager episode Dark Frontier. In episode 6, Kobayashi, while discovering the holodeck, Holo Janeway recommends a Jane Eyre holographic program, a nod to Janeway's 1600s styled holonovel, Janeway Lambda 1, that she played on Voyager. Parts of the holonovel were included in teasers for the Season 1 episodes Cathexis, Learning Curve, and it was also featured in the second season episode Persistence of Vision. Later in the episode, while trying to comfort Gwen, Zero uses the phrase borrowed from Janeway, "penny for your thoughts," a callback to when Catherine Janeway uses the adage when talking to the Nezu ambassador when offering to help with a rescue attempt from an asteroid bombardment in the Voyager episode Rise. Later in the episode, Holo Janeway grabs coffee again, another nod to the character's love for coffee. And at the end of the episode, Chakotay is revealed to be the original captain of the Protostar, first time his character has been seen since Voyager's end. Next is episode 7, First Contact. While conversing with a shrouded stranger, Dal asks if the sick children have the phage, a sickness that would plague the Vidians on Star Trek Voyager. Later in the episode, Dal's Ferengi friend flies a traditional Ferengi Marauder-class ship, a ship most known for being in TNG and Deep Space Nine, and even appeared in the Voyager episode Inside Man. In episode 8, Time Amok, the episode opens with Holo Janeway doing a training officer's log narrative, a callback to how several Voyager opening scenes started with Janeway's captain's log. In the episode, all the crew members are trapped in different time periods across the ship. This issue is not dissimilar to the Voyager episode Shattered, where the time was also fractured across the ship. In episode 10, A Moral Star Part 2, the end of the episode reveals the real Janeway, with her hair styled similar to later Voyager seasons, but with a strand of gray hair. She's also wearing the current Starfleet uniforms, which are similar to the dress uniforms worn on Voyager in some respects. The scene also reveals the USS Dauntless, a clear nod to the ship of the same name that appeared in the Voyager episode Hope and Fear. While the one on Voyager turned out to be a fake, it appears Janeway took notes and commissioned a larger version of the ship with slight physical differences. Episode 11, Asylum. We finally see Janeway and Chakotay reunited and learn Janeway is promoted to Vice Admiral. This is the first mention of her being promoted to Vice Admiral since she was promoted to Admiral in the Star Trek Borg 4D experience and her appearance in Star Trek Nemesis. In episode 12, Let Sleeping Borg Lie, Janeway orders tea, black, a reference to Admiral Janeway in the Voyager finale having to give up coffee and drank tea instead, per her doctor's orders. Later in the episode, we learn the Borg cube is disabled by a neurolytic pathogen. This is the same pathogen that was referenced in the Voyager finale, when an Admiral Janeway from the future uses the pathogen to disable the Borg. In the episode, the crew seeks the Borg vinculum, the processing device at the core of every Borg vessel. It interconnects the minds of all the drones. It purges individual thoughts and disseminates information relevant to the collective, a reference to Borg technology first seen in the Voyager episode Infinite Regress. Episode 14, Crossroads. In the episode, the crew hides the ship under the cover of snow and ice. This is similar to how Voyager was discovered in the 100th episode, Timeless. Also in the episode, Holo Janeway confirms that the Dauntless has a quantum slipstream drive, just like the original Dauntless that appeared in Star Trek Voyager. In episode 15, Masquerade, there was a space elevator, just like the one used in Star Trek Voyager's episode Rise. In episode 16, Preludes, in this episode, some members of the crew share their backstory explaining how they were enslaved by the Diviner. Originally, Rokta fought for entertainment until she was sold by a Kazon slaver, presumably the same slaver that we saw in the first episode of the show. We also learned that Zero was captured by Kazon hunters and then sold to the Diviner. Later in the episode, after Ensign Essentia reveals that she's a spy, she gives the full backstory explaining why the Diviner seeks to destroy Starfleet. In the flashback that depicts the first contact scenario with her people, it reveals a Prometheus-class starship, obviously a reference to the USS Prometheus that appeared in the Star Trek Voyager episode Message in a Bottle. Later in the episode, after all the crew share their stories, Dal asks Holo Janeway about information about the real Janeway. In response, she references Molly, Janeway's Irish setter, which was referenced several times in the series of Star Trek Voyager. In this episode, the crew is trapped on the holodeck, and one program in particular was in black and white, an obvious nod to the Captain Proton holo program created by Tom Paris. Episode 18, Mind Walk. In the episode, Dal and Admiral Janeway swap bodies. In a later scene, Dal lounges in Janeway's office, admiring a model of the USS Voyager. Later in the episode, Holo Janeway meets the real Janeway while she's still in Dal's body. Holo Janeway wants proof that she's the real deal, and Janeway shares a memory of her father after she had spilled her sister Phoebe's paint on the floor. Both characters were originally referenced on Voyager, and Janeway's father even appeared in the episode Coda, later revealed to be an alien entity. Also in the episode, we see the two Janeways face to face, but this isn't a new concept, as we first saw this pairing in Star Trek Voyager episode Deadlock, and later in the Voyager finale Endgame. After the Protostar crew explains their wild plan for how to get Dal and Janeway switched back, Janeway references her time as a salamander and says nothing could be more difficult than that, an obvious reference to one of Voyager's most infamous episodes, Threshold. And finally, Episode 19, Supernova, Part 1. In the episode, Vice Admiral Janeway is in the brig, found medically incompetent because of Dal's actions while he was in her body. Janeway pleads with the ensign guarding her to let her out of the cell. The ensign references Janeway's time on Voyager when she protected refugees from the Devore Imperium and reveals that she herself was a Benari refugee that Janeway had rescued. This is a reference to the Voyager episode Counterpoint. And as a result, the ensign releases Janeway from her cell. And there we have it. Those are all the Star Trek Voyager Easter eggs and references that I found rewatching the entire first season of Star Trek Prodigy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like and of course subscribe for more Voyager related content. I look forward to doing episode breakdowns for Season 2 when the series premieres on July 1st. Thanks for watching, take care, live long and prosper.